RMJ Movie Reviews back again with an on-the-fly movie review of The Predator. Oh my goodness. Where exactly can I start here? I grew up with all the Predator movies. The first one, because I was a big Arnold fanatic. I'm a really big fan. I'm a big fan of the first two movies. AVP films, I don't like either one. I think there's some cool stuff in the first one. And I like some of the gritty violence of AVP 2, but I'm not a fan of either one of those. Predators was okay. I like Predators. I thought it was pretty good. You know, kind of imitated a little bit too much stuff from the original movie, but still, it was an okay flick. I liked it. On to this film. Listen, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. Uh, I, I was excited to hear that Shane Black, of course, writer of Lethal Weapon 1, The Last Boy Scout, which nobody's been talking about at all in these reviews, Iron Man 3, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, The Nice Guys, and script doctor on Last Action Hero, various other movies, the first Predator. I was really excited because I was like, okay, Shane Black, who is an originator of the 80s action genre, of which Predator 1 was born out of, I was like, oh, he's returning to direct and write? Okay, I'm on board. Something that I found with Shane Black is that, I'm not going to digress too far. I'll stick to this. Either way, this movie's a disaster. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I was excited when I heard Shane Black was going to write it, but once I started seeing the photos of the cast members, my excitement level went from here to here really quick. And I'm not trying to say you had to do the 80s thing of having these macho, muscular guys, but I was kind of disappointed at what I was seeing in the set photos. But, and I've read all the reviews and heard all the reviews about, there's some people who like this movie and there's some people who say it's a disaster. I am on the end of, I think this movie's a disaster. Oh my goodness. I kept my expectations very low. Very low. And I will say, I think in the beginning it started out kind of fun. I thought when there was like the shooting and the Predator, and I like the whole idea of like a sniper versus the Predator. That calls back to a lot of the stuff of like army soldiers versus this intergalactic hunter. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But then, they start bringing in all these other elements to the story, which, the sniper guy's son who's autistic and he's decoding things with the Predator, and then you got the people who are trying to find the Predator. The movie just really gets kind of just muddled and kind of a little bit kind of all over the place and incoherent. And if it would have just been incoherent and fun, I'd have been fine with that. But when they bring in all the stuff with the autistic kid and he's like at school in the classroom, I'm just sitting there thinking, why is this in the movie? Why? The story just goes in like really unnecessary places. This is the closest way I can describe this movie. You all remember the Mandarin twist from Iron Man 3. Well, imagine if you took a very outlandish twist like that and applied it to the Predator franchise. That's kind of the gist of what they did here. It isn't that far, but in terms of just doing something crazy with it that you don't expect, that's what they do with the Predator. I'm just gonna go ahead and get into spoilers. So, all right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, there's a scene, y'all, where the child who has autism is walking down the street on Halloween. First of all, on Halloween, why is the holiday of Halloween in a Predator movie? He's got on the Predator's mask. An 8-year-old child is wearing the Predator's mask. And some dude throws something at the back of his head, a gun comes out the mask and blows him up. Why is that in this movie? Why? The Predator dogs, which I wasn't very excited about when I saw the previews, the heroes have the Predator dogs as a pet. They literally take a ball and go, "Here, puppy," and the Predator dog goes and fetches after it. Just the Loonies, which is the guy from Jordan Peele's boy. Uh, they're all well written, and I like the writing in those scenes. They all have good chemistry. They're kind of like the opposite of what Arnold's boys were in the original. Arnold's boys were all muscled up, muscular guys. In this one, you got a bunch of character actors, and I think it works for this. There's only one guy I didn't like, and he's the guy with long dark hair. He's the one that I didn't particularly like, but Thomas Jane is really good. It would have been nice actually if Thomas Jane, even though he's a little bit older now, I kind of would have liked him to be the actual main guy, but Thomas Jane is not the main guy anymore. They want a younger guy to be the main guy. But I think Thomas Jane would work better as the main guy in this movie, my personal opinion. He's a little bit older, a little bit more gruffer. I thought it would have worked. But I think their chemistry is pretty good, and there's a lot of jokes that Shane Black kind of recycled. There's some Last Boy Scout callbacks, some Lethal Weapon callbacks that are sprinkled throughout there. Matter of fact, there's one good callback in there where, I don't know, I think the guy, the main sniper guy asked the one guy, "Well, why did you do such and such to one guy?" And then the guy goes, "Oh, he was an asshole." That's straight out the Last Boy Scout. That is straight out the Last Boy Scout. Classic 80s, 90s action hero line. It wasn't delivered like Bruce Willis delivered it, because we know Bruce Willis can really deliver those lines well. But it was a nice callback. Nice callbacks back to the original Predator. Shane Black's tough guy writing dialogue. There's kind of a couple issues that I've realized with Shane Black and I'm kind of seeing how there's a difference when you look at those movies that he wrote in the 80s. He wrote those films, but he did not direct them himself. He was not the director, he wrote them. So they took his scripts and applied it to these directors' visions. Iron Man 3, I'll use Iron Man in this film because these are already established franchises. But Iron Man 3 and The Predator are already established franchises that Shane Black has control over as director. So you take a look at Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and The Nice Guys, which The Nice Guys, I love The Nice Guys. You know what I mean? But there is a certain level of silliness in The Nice Guys that is fine because this is Shane Black's baby. When you apply that kind of silliness to like they did with Iron Man 3 and the Mandarin twist, and now with Predator, in my personal opinion, as a viewer who grew up with the very first Predator when it came out and on to the sequels and everything, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit a Predator movie, which when you look at 1 and 2 and even the Adrian Brody Predators thing, it's all played straight. This here, and they had comedic bits sprinkled throughout the situation, but it was played straight, sci-fi horror action with humor to relieve the tension, but not slap zany comedy. And that's what you're dealing with here. You're dealing with, like, if you look at Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, which I love that movie, that was like out and out comedy, right? This film has that type of slapdash kind of comedy, and it's a Predator movie. It's entirely too silly. It's entirely too silly, and also the movie just kind of doesn't know what it wants to be. And stuff with the kid and the over goofiness. I don't care that the movie's incoherent. I would have been fine with that just as long as it would have just been gory action and fun and maybe some suspense. There's no suspense here. There's one suspenseful scene where the doctor chick is naked and the Predator is walking around this thing. You can hear his footsteps, and it's pretty creepy. But that's about as far as it gets. I had fun with the movie when they introduced the sniper guy, and I had fun with the parts on the bus introducing the loony characters. But it just got too goofy with the Predator dolls and the kid wearing the Predator's mask on Halloween. It was I was shocked. I was shocked. I was literally just kind of sitting in the movie theater like, why are they doing this? This is a simple premise: gritty, bloody action, scary sci-fi monster, and action, tough guy dialogue, and tough girl dialogue. That's all it has to be. I just, and I noticed when Shane Black has complete control, Shane Black does do the tough guy, hard-boiled dialogue, but he really likes to take chances and put in this really zany stuff. And what I noticed when you look at Last Boy Scout, Lethal Weapon 1, those were Richard Donner and Tony Scott's movies. So they kept the zaniness controlled. You know, they didn't go so far over the top. And although Last Boy Scout, you could really, in Last Boy Scout, I think in terms of the Shane Black movies from back then and Long Kiss Goodnight are the two ones that have the really highest amount of the zany stuff. But Last Boy Scout, what I like about that movie is it's right in the middle. It has all the quippy one-liners, but it kind of eliminated more of the really, really goofball stuff. Long Kiss Goodnight started to creep in more of the goofball stuff, like the stuff with the crackhead throwing up during the fake police investigation by Samuel L. Jackson. This movie has tons and tons of moments like that, just far too many. It's too silly, it's too goofy, it's just... I'm shocked. I mean, this movie's a total disaster. I don't understand what they were thinking. I just don't. I mean, this movie went the direction that Blade Trinity went with Blade. Like, it got so goofy and so unserious and so unfocused. This is a sloppy film. I think the people who should have wrote this should have been the guys who wrote 1 and 2, which is, I think, Jim and John Thomas, I think was their names. They should have wrote this film. You know, and I think they should have wrote it. Shane Black should have wrote his little version too, and they should have combined the two scripts. And I think from there, maybe John McTiernan should have came back to direct. I think that would have been a better bet. But right here, this movie is entirely too goofy, too focused, too unsilly. I'm shocked. And as far as people saying the third act was too simple or whatever, you know, by the time the movie entered the second act, I just stopped caring. I really honestly wanted to walk out the movie. I really did. I was bored by it. I wasn't entertained by it. When I saw the Predator dog, they throw a ball and they kept the Predator dog as a pet, I was pretty much just done. And matter of fact, I was done about the time I saw the kid in the Halloween mask. I don't know how 20th Century Fox approved this. I really don't. I think this movie is a disaster. And I can tell you all right now, the Predator franchise is done. It's dead. This movie has killed the franchise. It's buried. It's done. And this movie will bomb, because when I went to the movie theater this afternoon, there weren't a lot of people in there. There was a couple of older viewers like myself, 30s and up. It looked like it was a couple of us in there. And there was a couple of youngsters in there who wouldn't be able to follow the damn thing at all. Maybe AVP, which to them, that's probably the first Predator movie. But this movie's going to bomb. I'm telling y'all, the franchise is dead now. It's officially dead. This people are going to lose jobs over this movie. It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. I'd maybe recommend this movie for the dollar show, if dollar shows even exist anymore, but I can't recommend it. If there's one thing in this movie that I think was good, was the main guy. I think his name is Hal Holbrook, and the one gentleman, I can't remember his name. I think Tennessee's his name. What's his name? It's not Tennessee's. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's the one brother. I forget his name. But anyway, them two together had a really good chemistry on that bus. And I really saw kind of shadows of Lethal Weapon and Last Boy Scout. Now, I think if they would have cut out all that other stuff and had them two guys together, I think the movie would have been like dynamite. Take out the kid. I don't even know why this autistic kid is in this. Why is this autistic kid in this movie? Why? Why? I I don't know. Guys, look, Siskel and Ebert saying 2 thumbs down, man, for the Predator on my end, man. I'm shocked. I don't know what else to say about this movie. For us old guys out there and women, we can stick with our old copies of Predator 1987 and Predator 2 1990. Yes, Predator 2 is good. I'm tired of everybody hating on Danny Glover. Predator 2 is an awesome movie. Stop hating on it. We'll just have to stick with those guys because this is, oh God. Look, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, leave comments down below about the Predator, hit the little bell. I'm shocked. I don't know how this turned out that way. RMJ Movie Reviews, guys. I'll see you soon.